Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Katya and today's book talk is on Aya, Life in Yop City by Marguerite Abouet. This is a graphic novel artwork by Clement Aubrière. This is one of the 4 books that I said I was going to be focusing on for Women in Translation Month this month, August, and I will link that video because I've also got some book recommendations for women in translation if you want to check it out. Now, Life in Yop City follows 19-year-old Aya and her 2 friends, Bintu and Ajua, as well as their families and the broader community of the Yopougon district of Ivory Coast's Abidjan. Now, the neighborhood in which Aya lives is nicknamed Yop City, and the time that we're looking at is the 1970s, so that's the setting. This English translation combines the first 3 original volumes published in French, and the sequel, translated in English as Love in Yop City, again translates and combines the additional 3 original volumes. I'll tell you right away that I am getting the 2nd volume based on this book because Life in Yop City was a lot of fun. There is humour in the everyday stories, and yet this graphic novel deals with serious issues too: adultery, homophobia, sexual harassment, and the class divide between the haves and the have-nots. Life in Yop City covers an 18-month period and combines, as I mentioned, the 3 graphic novels that came out separately: Aya of Yop City, and The Secrets Come Out. So I'm glad to have gotten this combined edition because I don't really feel like it's great to have a break between them. It feels far more complete this way, and though the cast of characters is much bigger than I'm used to for a graphic novel, I loved what each character brought to the story. I think if it had been split up into the 3 original volumes, I would have been wondering as well about the introduction of some of the characters because their story doesn't really come full circle until you get to volume 3. So that's another reason that I like this chunky version. The style is totally slice of life, and some mini dramas play out in the form of cheating husbands and girlfriends and those sort of things. There is a great amount of foreshadowing, and you never feel that something has been entirely sprung on you. But the style also leaves you waiting for a reveal to see if your suspicions are correct. I mean, you know that you're going to be right, but you're just waiting for it. Now, Aya is the satellite around which this ensemble cast orbits. She tends to be very calm and measured, and she's more an observer than an actor. She's proactive, but doesn't rush into things like her friends do. Now, she's that steady friend, intelligent, with a rational approach, and she's the go-to for problem solving. But as in real life, those around her blow up in anger at her sound advice. Her 2 friends often berate her as being a know-it-all, but I like her attitude. She doesn't hold that against them. Aya gives advice, but if something blows up in the face of a person who doesn't listen to her, she doesn't spend ages afterwards going, "I told you so." All the characters, especially these 3, are wonderfully complex, and her friends are very different to Aya. Bintu gets into scrapes by being somewhat naive about situations. She loves to have fun and doesn't think very far ahead. Her other friend, Ajua, is a little bit more calculating. Not quite mercenary, but anything but naive. However, she does seem to think that she's older than she actually is, so I think she's perhaps naive in that way. She thinks she knows it all. There's a sad commentary on the patriarchal society of the time and place where the girls will often be casually accosted while they're trying to get from A to B. Now, at times, ignoring these random guys means the girls are eventually left alone. Still, there are also instances in this book where the men pursue them, demanding to be acknowledged and respected. In some cases, passers-by intervene, either highlighting that the girls should be allowed to continue on their way unmolested or placating their aggressors. And these are really easy scenarios to imagine, as growing up I experienced similar, and I imagine some people watching will be able to think of something similar as well. Talking about time and place, or different time and place, actually I don't think it is appropriate to say that it's just reflective of that period, because I was talking recently to a friend who told me that her daughter ran home after school absolutely terrified. She was in her school uniform, and two men who appeared to be in their 40s started curb crawling and calling her beautiful and asking her to stop and speak with them. And they got increasingly insistent, and so she ran home absolutely terrified. And this book is set in the 1970s, and it doesn't feel like things have changed the globe over all that much. So yeah, it's a very realistic book. Life in Yop City focuses on tricky relationships, those between lovers, those between parent and child, and between friends. Most of the problems are focused on that. The artwork is deceptively simple. It's not quite as dynamic and vibrant as I thought from the cover. So actually the cover is a little bit more muted as well, but I was expecting really, really bright colors, but this somehow works. It's really understated, but the composition fits the narrative perfectly. The images are often like snapshots of that perfect moment in which a character is showing their deepest emotions about a situation. There's bonus material at the end of the book, including a glossary of Ivorian terms, recipes, social contextualization, and details about the young Abouette arriving in France. So there's just lovely diagrams over here explaining various bits. From start to finish, this was an engaging comedy drama. It's rated 3.98 on Goodreads, and I rated a full 4 stars, and I can't wait to dive into love in Yop City and figure out what's going to be in store for these three going forward. Do let me know in the comments, have you read this? Did you enjoy it? And are you going to be reading it? Is it on your TBR? Do let me know, and thanks so much for joining me. Take care. Bye.